believe in God. But I've got more in common with them than I do with your average religious person anymore.
I don't want to say that I'm atheist. I mean, something created us. I don't think we're the only planet that has human life on it.
Oh, well, probably human life, but, you know, because...
Depends on what you define as humanity.
Well, us.
Yeah. But I have friends
definitely
that
some
are
intelligent
Buddhist
life.
And Sikh and Christian and Lutheran but I respect it all because I see beauties in all of it.
Yeah, I see value in all of the things you just listed because I see, you know, I don't really have one thing that I can take from and say this is what I believe. I've looked. I can't find anything that there's not something where I'm like, check. Oh, fuck. You know, everyone. But I do see value in a lot of those belief systems. And I think, you know, they have a purpose. It's just like anything else. People can pervert that. And
we're supposed to be kind to one another. We are supposed to treat each other like family, despite where you come from.
Because we are the thing that cracks me up when people like talk about color and race, and those are outside things. Yes, you have different traditions and different, but the reason the black people are black is because they were closer to the equator. I mean, it's just a melanin thing. It's just a thing. Like Swedish people are only so white because it was so goddamn cold there.
And they're always covered up.
And they were in. You know, they needed to just every bit of warmth they needed to be able to get, and you know. It's just so stupid when you break it down and think about how we evolved. Don't
we share like 99.9% of the same deal? No, God damn it. With each other. So I hate everybody. So
you just made a really good point.
She must not have heard about the banana thing.
Your banana?
No, not my. Well, that took a turn. No, but we
fight amongst.
No, go ahead.
We fight amongst each other because a lack or because we have melanin.
Right.
Like, really think about that.
I think about shit like that a lot.
One group has more melanin than the other.
And we're trying to say that changes your level of humanity, gives or takes. It has nothing to do with nothing.
It's like having brown eyes versus blue eyes.
It's like where your ancestors directly evolved. That's all it has to do with is how close to the equator and the heat. And it's just so stupid. But there are people that will live and die on that hill, and I don't understand it.
They won't have my support.
Well, no, they won't have mine either. But I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand why people can't really embrace that the only race is the human race. The rest is just window dressing. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter, because culture, I love culture. I love to learn about it. It's fascinating to me the way people develop and their customs and their art and their music. I love it all. The fashion, but it's just window dressing on a soul.
Yep. Wow.
You know?
And we didn't have planes back then.
No.
So you couldn't travel, get somewhere in 2 hours.
Yeah, it took you a while. You had time, you know? I mean, and when I think about that, because, like, I don't sleep much, so I think weird shit in the deep, dark night. But, like, think about, like, the people that were intrepid enough to, like, take off across the great unknown, like, knowing that they never see home again. And oh man, thank God for those intrepid souls, or the world would be a very different place.
Yep.
I really admire the Vikings because they have these little itty bitty little boats that they did what they needed to do. I mean, that's one of my favorite like eras or whatever to study. I'm like, wow, like they really were conquering different parts of the world. Which is these itty bitty little canoes.
These fragile little shells on this great ocean. It's crazy.
I've always been obsessed with, like, Egyptians. I don't know why. Ever since I was a small child.
Something in it just spoke to you?
I'm telling you that those pyramids, they're covering up something, and I would love to find out what it is.
I want to know what's under the left paw of the Sphinx and why they won't let them excavate it, because they know there's a chamber down there.
Well, they don't want to excavate it because it's on sand, but they do radar or something.
We've got LiDAR and shit now.
They know how to get in it. There's a big button that's like this big behind the right ear of the Sphinx.
Right, but they're afraid.
You can see. No, what they're afraid of is that the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are right, and that's where the Library of Atlantis is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then.
If you believe in that. Well, the Emerald Tablets are real. I mean, that's not some bullshit.
But I think there are maybe people that's their fear, but I think the greater fear is think about it. So shifting, if you push said button and things move, it could flood and then be lost.
Look on Oak Island when they dug out the thing and it flooded.
Yeah. Fucked all that up, didn't they?
When is the last time you saw water near fucking pyramids?
Do you not know how sand works?
I know how sand works, but there's enough sand under it to keep it in place.
When you start digging sand, things are going to shift.
Okay, they can get to it from the inside. You can legit look up and see that there's a button behind
the thing behind the ear,
and there's also a one on top of the head.
Yeah, I think that's fake too.
Jesus Christ!
Newsflash: the world's round.
You motherfuckers won't believe. I won't believe it unless I see it for myself.
Chris, I've seen it,
but Chris, just because you see it doesn't mean it's real. The inverse is true too.
Yes, I understand that. I'm just saying y'all are incredibly skeptical.
Yes, I would rather be. I would rather be incredibly skeptical and then be like, "Oh, how exciting!" than believe in something stupid.
It's not stupid. There's fucking pictures. There are descriptions.
That's okay. You can. It's cool.
Okay, well, with that fucking logic, anything can be photoshopped.
Yes, I know.
At this day and age, yes.
Then how the hell do you fucking believe anything?
I'd have to go up there and see it myself. That's how.
For me, it's like
unless they go up there and push it and shit opens, and I'll be like, oh, cool, it was true.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just kind of like if one little group is claiming they have this super secret special knowledge, I tend to think they're full of shit because you're not special and like other people, like, you know, if there's a preponderance of evidence, then I'm going to go, okay, there may be something to that. But if there's one little tiny...
It's not one little group that says that.
Okay, if we're talking about the thing on the head and behind the ear, yes, I've seen that, and I've also looked up pictures upon pictures, old archival stuff. It's not there. It's not.
Okay.
Is that the end of that
I'm
conversation?
fucking done with y'all. That's, yeah.
Why don't we all just book a plane ticket and go to India?
Because we broke and there's a pandemic. That's
I'm okay with that.
That would be really fun. I think all the pyramids are connected because there's some in South America that have the same.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's always fascinated me. How like the whole like flood narrative and all that. How people that have never been. It's just. It's always been fascinating to me how parallel.
Well, like the flood narrative, what kills me is, okay, if it was one or two civilizations saying, hey, there was this huge flood and, you know, blah, 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 blah. There are hundreds of cultures who have a legend, so clearly there's something to it.
That take place at all different times, too.
Yep.
And so then that goes back to the story of Noah.
Or Gilgamesh.
Where was he from? Where was he from? Right?
Yep.
And then two, this thing had to have encompassed the entire world because my best friend, she's from India, and they have a huge flood story.
Yep.
So that's just that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So then maybe the world isn't as old as we think it is, or it is. And these stories keep getting told over and over and over again.
I think it's probably older than we think it is, and I think things recycle, and I think I think technology has been lost and found. I think that it's just I like the thought of the mysteries and the discovery and the what ifs. I mean, I don't think we'll ever know this side of the other side, all the answers. But that's the most exciting thing for me about knowing when I get there, I'll finally like the veil pulled back. I'll get to know all that stuff. My mind will just go.
This might sound really, really cryptic, but I am not afraid of death because I'm really, really excited to find out what is on the other side.
Yeah, I'm not. I used to kind of be afraid of death. I've always been more afraid of the death of others. Like, my personal ending is not scary to me. Having to exist without the people I love is terrifying to me.
So I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of
living.
No, I worry about who I'm leaving behind, or if someone else dies, I worry more about them. And me, myself, not really. But
like, when my time is up, I think, okay, because I don't really have any, I don't fear judgment. I don't, I believe that there's a creator. I believe that, I have a good soul. I don't believe I'll be punished or, it's, the only thing that's sad to me is leaving the ties, with the other souls that might not be ready to go at that time.
Yeah.
Because, like, my cousin, she was like, she just randomly brought it to my attention. She was like, if hell is real, it might be exciting. I was like, why do you say that?
If what's real?
Hell.
Oh.
She said hell.
Well, I'm sure it would be exciting.
I was like, why do you say that? She said, well, because the Bible said that only 144,000 people are going to make it. And she said, do you really think about all
not into heaven
that have lived and died?
No.
I'm sorry, into heaven. I'm sorry. Into heaven. She was like, so you're probably going to see the people that you were here on earth with. I was like, you know what? You have a point.
I know what you're going to look up. It says 144,000 to rule. Not 144,000 will make it into heaven.
Oh, okay. She got it wrong. Huh. How did they come up with that number?
12,000 people from the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's an Old Testament thing.
Well, it is what it is. We'll never know until we get there.
Yeah.
If there is like a there.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
For all I know, I'm coming back as a bird. I don't know.
My grandma always said, I'm going to come back as a bird so I can shit on people's heads.
Oh, that's funny.
Seems kind of rude.
She was French. She was rude. I mean,
direct.
Oh, that is
direct.
Funny.
But yeah, I mean, I don't believe in hell. I believe we make our own hell. I think, if we let anger or...
I really don't believe in hell either, because he died for all of our sins.
Yeah.
That means we're all going to heaven.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, we separate ourselves from the light, whether that's with anger or hate or, violence or whatever. I believe we create our own hell. We put ourselves there. Nobody arbitrarily... I think hell is just...
I also believe in reincarnation and stuff, too.
So, which was also a Christian doctrine for a long time.
That
was one of those Nicaea changes.
Mm-hmm. You know how bold that is to really sit down and say, you know what, we are going to change the course of
the hubris.
You have to have a huge ego to do that.
Yeah. Well,
how do you even decide that, too?
There's some suggestions that before all that happened...
politics.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's some suggestions that before all that happened, women were a lot more prominent in religion. And basically, the men set it up so that they were in charge.
We got to shut these bitches up.
Yeah. So...
They got too much power.
Yeah, because you look at one side and... You have Mary, who was a whore.
Yeah.
But you look on the other side, and she was Jesus'
Mary that was a partner,
wife, and partner, and his,
financier,
person right there next to him, and teachings.
Yep. So.
Yeah. It's just it's interesting. There's beauty in duality, and you need the female energy, and you need the male energy. Because if you have one that's greater than the other, that's how things get out of whack. So I could totally see women having more